Welcome back. The world outside is quiet now. You've settled in, the lights are low, and the rhythm of your breath is calm. Tonight, we step together into the stillness of the past, into a world slower, simpler, and much harder than our own. Close your eyes. Imagine the faint glow of a single candle, its light flickering softly against stone walls. Outside, the night air is cool and still. Inside, silence wraps around you like a heavy cloak. This is not the story of kings or battles. It's not the clash of swords or the march of armies. Instead, this is the quiet story of everyday life. The small rhythms, the long hours, and the simple struggles of those who lived centuries ago. Tonight, we travel back to the 12th century, to the echoing cloisters of a medieval monastery, a place where time was measured not by clocks, but by the tolling of bells, where lives were lived in prayer, labor, and silence. Where comfort was scarce, yet peace could still be found in the steady pattern of devotion. For the next while, allow yourself to walk slowly through that world, to hear the bells, to feel the stone beneath your feet, to live, if only in imagination, the life of a monk who rose before dawn, worked through the cold, and sought solace not in wealth, but in faith. Settle in. Breathe deeply. Let the quiet rhythm of the past carry you. This is the story of life inside a medieval monastery. This is a story about life in the past. Each day, in the life of a Bronze Age farmer, you rise before the sun, stepping out from the low doorway of your thatched hut. The air smells of damp earth and wood smoke. In the distance, cattle shift and breathe in the quiet, their silhouettes soft in the haze. You walk to the small plot where barley stands, its green heads heavy with dew. Your hands brush over the stalks, feeling the smooth coolness. Near the edge of the field, a wooden plow leans against a post, its handle polished by years of use. Overhead, the sky lightens by degrees, a slow wash from gray to pale gold. Smoke from the hearth curls above the huts, carrying the faint scent of last night's stew. Chickens wander freely, scratching at the ground, their soft clucks mixing with the distant lowing of cattle. There is no rush. Work will stretch from sunup to sundown, guided by the seasons, not by a clock. You kneel beside the sprouting barley, your fingers tracing the tiny green shoots. This will be your sustenance, your bread, your beer. You think of the long months ahead when the grain will ripen under the hot summer sun. Already the soil is warm from the sun's embrace. Swallow swoops low, its wings beating the air as it chases a beetle. You watch it disappear into the endless blue, then return to your task. Beside you, a small lizard darts out from between the barley stalks, basking in the growing warmth. You feel the sun's energy on your skin, the steady hum of insects growing louder as the hours pass. It is good. This life rooted in the turning of the seasons, in the simple act of planting and tending. There is a rhythm to this existence, a calming repetition that lulls your mind into a state of tranquility. You straighten, wiping the sweat from your brow. In the distance, the hazy forms of your neighbors are just visible as they work their fields. You take a rough stone from a nearby pile, smoothing its edges with practiced fingers. This will become a tool to shape the soil, to coax life from the stubborn earth. Your hands move with the sureness of one who has done this many times before. As the sun climbs higher, the shadows grow shorter, the air warmer. You feel the prickle of a bee's wings as it hovers near the barley, seeking nectar. You pause, letting the bee do its work before continuing. To disturb the delicate balance would be unwise. Patience is a virtue learned from the land itself. You lean on your plow, watching a hawk circle high above. Its keen eyes search the fields for field mice or snakes. You too scan the horizon, half expecting to see a Bronze Age warrior striding across the landscape. His spear held high, ready to defend you from any threat. But there is no danger here today, only peace. You finished your round, setting the stone aside with a soft thud. As the sun begins its slow journey toward the horizon, you feel the day's work done. The barley plot lies neat and tidy behind you, ready to be tended once more tomorrow. You you walk back to the village, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. In the distance, the first stars begin to appear, tiny pinpricks of light in the vast darkness. The evening meal awaits, and with it, the stories of the day, the laughter of family, the comfort of a life well lived. The embers glow, reflecting the flickering flames. The scent of wood smoke mingles with the savory aroma of roasting meat. Round you, family members stir, sharing news and laughter, their faces illuminated by the firelight. The day's work fades into memory as you feast, the rhythmic chirping of crickets, a soothing accompaniment, and the contented sighs of those who find solace in the simple pleasures of life. The alarm has barely sounded, yet you are awake. Sleep was a luxury the gods reserved for mortals. For you, there is work to be done. You rise, pull on your tunic and sandals, and head out into the bustling city. You weave through the crowds, past the market stalls laden with olives and figs, fresh fish glistening on display. The baker's oven is already roaring, sending delicious smells into the air. The bronze smith's hammer is ringing, and the cobbler's hammer is ringing. Street vendors call echoes, "Buy my figs, fresh and sweet." A nearby fountain trickles, providing a welcome splash of sound in the morning quiet. As the sun climbs higher, the crowds grow thicker. You turn into a narrow side street, seeking a respite from the growing heat. And there it is, an oasis of tranquility. The public bathhouse, its white marble facade, is adorned with statues of gods and heroes. Above the entrance, a faded fresco of Neptune riding a chariot drawn by seahorses. The scent of warm stone and olive oil drifts invitingly through the open doorway. You step across the mosaic floor, its tiles cool and smooth underfoot. The walls are painted with faded frescoes, gods, heroes, vines heavy with fruit. A gentle murmur of voices echoes, blending with the soft splash of water. Ahead, the frigidarium, the cold plunge pool beckons. You pause, taking a deep breath before plunging in. The water is icy, stealing your breath and invigorating you at once. You move on, passing through the frigidarium, the cool air brushing your skin. Next, the tepidarium, the room of comfortable warmth, envelops you with its inviting embrace. Slaves move about quietly, pouring water into marble basins and offering small cups of spiced wine. The air is filled with the scent of citrus and herbs. You relax, enjoying the soothing warmth that seeps into your muscles. In the far corner, an old man sits wrapped in a linen cloth, lost in thought. A young woman reclines on a nearby bench, her eyes closed, a faint smile gracing her lips. The gentle murmur of voices rises slightly as you enter the caldarium, the hot sauna. The air is thick with dry heat and the scent of burning cedar. Your breath comes slowly, each inhale a luxurious balm. You lean back against the stone bench, the warmth seeping into your bones. Outside, sunlight filters through the open roof, catching in the mist. The sound of water dropping from the vaulted ceiling pulls your gaze upward. Each drop hitting the marble floor is a tiny percussion in this symphony of relaxation. As you lose yourself in the comforting heat, conversations drift to your ears. A group of merchants discuss the shipment of grain to Rome, their voices low and relaxed. Two soldiers, their faces weathered and worn, recall a campaign in Germania, the clash of steel and the courage of their comrades. Nearby, two friends catch up, exchanging news and gossip in hushed tones. In the far corner, a masseur kneads oil into the shoulders of a weary traveler, his hands working with practiced ease. The bathhouse is not just a place to cleanse the body, but also to soothe the mind. Here, the worries of the street, the anxieties of daily life, all fade away. It is a sanctuary of tranquility, a shared experience that brings people together. You linger in the bathhouse, losing track of time. When you finally emerge, the sun is high in the sky. You shake off the last vestiges of heat and step out into the world, refreshed and rejuvenated. The city bustles around you, but you feel a sense of calm amidst the chaos. You are ready to face the day, to tackle the tasks that await you, knowing that even the busiest of days can be made better with a little bit of peace. And so your day begins not with a rush, but with a whisper of calm from the Roman bathhouse. The memory of its soothing embrace, a quiet strength within you. The steam, the scent, the warmth, they echo in your heart, reminding you that even in the midst of a bustling city, moments of tranquility can be found. All you need to do is seek them out, embrace them, and let them guide you through the day. You wake before the river ripples with life. Sleepy-eyed ibis and baboons lumber out of the reeds, shaking droplets from their wings and feathers. The air, cool and fragrant with water lilies, whispers of another busy day. You stretch your linen shirt clinging to your sun-kissed skin and pad barefoot to the window. Over the glistening Nile, you watch the sun rise, its glow red and fierce. It's going to be a scorcher. In the courtyard below, your daughter Kalinda chases a butterfly, her laughter echoing between the high walls of your home. She pauses, looks up, and for a moment, your eyes meet. She waves, and you smile back, glad she's found such joy in this little corner of the world. But duty calls. With a final wave, she runs off, and you turn back to your work. For you are a scribe, keeper of the written word, and your day begins even before the sun peaks over the horizon. You wash your hands in cold water, mindful of the day ahead, then don your finest white linen, a symbol of your profession. It's a hot walk to the temple, so you grab a lotus blossom to tuck behind your ear, its delicate fragrance a welcome distraction from the dust. At the temple, hundreds of worshippers have already gathered, eager to pay their respects to Ra, the sun god. The air thrums with anticipation, the murmur of prayers blending with the rhythmic chanting of priests. The pharaoh, resplendent in gold and lapis lazuli, enters and takes his throne. The crowd parts for him, and you hurry to your place beside other scribes, each holding a papyrus scroll ready to record the day's events. The pharaoh speaks, his voice booming, and you listen intently. Today is an auspicious day. The king has come to dedicate a new irrigation canal, a gift to the people of this sun-baked land. Take your reed pen, dip it in ink, and begin to write, painstakingly copying down every word, every decree. The ceremony lasts for hours, but you don't falter. Your hand gliding over the papyrus, the scratch of your pen the only sound that matters. Finally, the last stroke is made, the last word written. The crowd surges forward, eager to touch the pharaoh's robe, to be blessed by his presence. You watch him go, then return to your quarters, the heat of the day pressing down on you like a physical force. But you can't stop now. There are more records to keep, more accounts to tally, more stories to capture. You unroll a fresh papyrus, dip your pen in ink, and start again, writing, recording the minutiae of daily life. The tax a farmer pays, the price of grain, the arrival of a new shipment of wine from the south. Each stroke of your pen is a testament to your skill, your dedication, your understanding of the world around you. The hours slip by, measured only by the sun's relentless journey across the sky. But you don't mind the heat, not when your work is this important, this vital. You are a scribe, and your job is to remember. As the sun begins its slow descent, you hear the familiar call to prayer and push back your chair. It's time to leave. The streets are bustling now, filled with merchants hawking their wares. Artisans returning from the day's work, children playing games in the fading light. You weave through the crowds, your papyrus scroll tucked under your arm, the weight of it a comfort to you. At home, you greet your wife, who gives you a quick peck on the cheek before disappearing into the kitchen. Dinner will be ready soon, and you can already smell the roasted lamb and vegetables. But first, there's more work to do. Your son Thutmose is eager to learn, and you spend the evening teaching him the intricacies of your trade, showing him how to shape the reed pen, how to mix the perfect consistency of ink, how to read the hieroglyphs that have become second nature to you. When Thutmose is finally ready to go to bed, you tuck him in, his eyes shining with excitement at the prospect of one day being a scribe himself. As you join your wife at the table, the full moon rising over the Nile, you know that your work is important, that it matters. For what is life without a story? What is a story without someone to tell it? And as long as there are scribes like you, the tale of humanity will live on. We are at the start of our journey through 100 years of Japanese art, and what better way to begin than with a stroll through an idyllic Japanese garden. The path is raked smooth, and each stone is placed with intention. You move slowly, your wooden sandals tapping softly against the ground. Above, the pale pink blossoms drift from the branches, falling into your teacup with a gentle plink. The air is cool, but touched with the warmth of the spring sun. At the veranda, a host bows deeply, guiding you to a low table. The tea room smells faintly of tatami and pine smoke. You kneel, hands resting lightly on your knees, watching the slow, practiced movements of the tea master. Each gesture, lifting the kettle, whisking the powdered green tea, is deliberate, almost meditative. Outside, a breeze stirs the paper screens, carrying the faint scent of blossoms. You sip slowly, the tea's earthy bitterness balanced by its soft warmth. In the distance, a bamboo fountain empties with a quiet knock, marking time in the stillness. In the distance, a lone figure gazes up at the blossoms, their face turned towards the pale pink sky. The image is one of quiet contemplation, a moment of stillness in a world that seems to be in constant motion. The painting is titled appropriately enough Tsukiya, or simply Villa. It is a work by one of Japan's most celebrated artists, Yokoyama Tikan, who was born in 1868. This was painted around 1906, just a few years before Taiken would travel to Europe for the first time. When he returned to Japan, his paintings took on a new depth, a more painterly approach that broke away from the strict confines of traditional ink painting. He was part of a group of artists known as the Nangaha, or Southern Painting Society, who were inspired by the literati painters of China's Song dynasty. But unlike the austere landscapes of the Song painters, Taiken's works often feature a single splash of brilliant color. A red maple leaf against a monochrome background, or a single pink blossom floating in a sea of green. These works were celebrated for their simplicity and their elegance, their ability to capture the essence of a moment in time. Today, we are going to try our hand at painting one of these moments ourselves. We will use watercolor, which was introduced to Japan during this period, but we will approach it in a way that is closer to traditional ink painting. That is, we will start with a wash of color, then add light brush strokes on top of it. This will give our painting a sense of depth and atmosphere, while still allowing us to capture the essence of the subject. Before we begin, take a moment to appreciate the beauty of the image in front of you. Notice the delicate balance of colors and the way the light filters through the trees. Let this image inspire you, and let us begin. If you enjoyed this artistic journey through time, stay tuned for more. We have only just begun to explore 100 years of Japanese art. Next time, we'll travel to the bustling streets of Tokyo and discover the vibrant world of ukiyo-e. Until then, happy painting, and may your colors be as vivid as the blossoms in spring. What kind of person wants to live in a lighthouse? What's it like to be a lighthouse keeper? In this episode of A Life Well Lived, we'll meet a lighthouse keeper in 19th century Maine and find out. It's a crisp September morning on the coast of Maine. The sea is a restless presence, always murmuring, always shifting. You stand on the lantern platform, the smell of salt thick in the air, the wind tugging at your coat. Below, waves crash against black rocks, sending up sprays of foam that glitter in the morning sun. Turning slowly, the great glass lens of the lighthouse casts its first rays, sweeping across the horizon, a silent, steady watchman against the dark. You descend the spiral stairs to the keeper's quarters, the rhythmic crash of the waves a constant counterpoint to your measured steps. The day will be long, but not lonely, as there are the seabirds, their cries mingling with the wind and the ever-present murmur of the sea. There are the tasks to be done, each with its own quiet satisfaction. You polish the brass fittings until they gleam, then scrub the lamp clean of soot, each stroke a small victory over the encroaching dark. The logbook, too, requires your careful attention. Here you record the weather, the state of the seas, the time each oil lamp is trimmed or a new wick is fitted. It is a chronicle of sorts, a testament to the light that never fails. After a while, you hear the squeak of a hinge, the cry of a gull, and see the flash of white wings against the dark green of the sea. Lunch is a simple affair, bread and chowder, warmed by the oven where the sea air has been baking for days. You eat by the window, watching the rhythmic rise and fall of the waves, listening to the wind's low song outside. The afternoon stretches before you, hazy and warm. You can almost taste the salt on the wind. The line between sea and sky blurs in the distance, and you find yourself leaning into it, letting the immensity of the ocean and the constancy of the light settle over you like a familiar blanket. You check the fuel for the lamp, trim the wick, and watch the great light flare to life again. And as dusk approaches, you climb the stairs to the lamp room. The sky outside is a bruised purple, heavy with the promise of rain. But here, within the circle of the lantern, there is only gold, the the steady glow of oil on flame. You light the wick of the day, ready to guide the ships that sail these storm-tossed waters. And as the night deepens, the lighthouse stands steadfast, glowing eye in the dark, watching, waiting, a beacon in the gathering gloom. Though no one may see you here, you are not alone. The rhythmic crash of the waves below is a constant companion. Cry of the gulls, the sigh of the wind, the very pulse of the sea is all around you. And in the silence of the night, you hear the soft whisper of the lighthouse itself, a sound as old as time, as timeless as the sea. It is the sound of duty done, of lives saved, of the light that never fails. And in that sound, you find your purpose, your place in the grand design of things. A small but vital part of something much larger than yourself. As the first hint of dawn paints the sky, you stand on the lantern platform, the wind whipping your hair, the spray of the waves, a cool mist on your face. And you know that when the sun finally rises, it will be to the sound of the sea and the steady glow of the lighthouse, a silent promise kept. If you enjoyed this episode of A Life Well Lived, please subscribe and share with others who might find it interesting. And if you'd like to suggest a topic for a future episode, leave a comment below. Thank you for joining us. The muezzin's voice cuts through the pre-dawn darkness, calling the faithful to prayer as the sun begins its slow ascent above the jagged peaks of the Atlas Mountains. In the heart of the city, the ancient souk, or marketplace, stirs to life. The flickering glow of oil lamps still hanging from darkened doorways mingles with the soft light of dawn. You make your way through the labyrinthine alleys, each turn revealing a new tableau of sights and sounds. The air is alive with the scent of cumin and saffron, mingling with the aroma of roasting lamb and the sweet smoke of incense. Above the low murmur of awakening voices, you hear the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer, the rasp of a woodcarver's chisel, the gentle splash of water from a fountain hidden somewhere in the maze of alleys. As you delve deeper into the souk, the first rays of sunlight begin to touch the tops of buildings, painting the ancient stones with hues of rose and gold. In the distance, the call to prayer echoes once more, this time joined by the resonant boom of a nearby drum. It is the sound of a city waking, stretching, preparing for the day ahead. A merchant calls out in Arabic, his voice echoing through the narrow alley. His stall overflows with brightly dyed lengths of cloth, shimmering brassware and baskets overflowing with figs and dates. Their dark skins glistening with sweet syrup, you pause to watch a spice seller. His hands stained golden from turmeric, carefully measuring cinnamon into small paper cones. Each movement precise, his fingers dance over the rough grain of the wood, creating tiny piles of aromatic spice. Nearby, a wizened old man kneads dough, his movements slow and deliberate, his face etched with the passage of time. A young boy watches intently, his eyes wide with admiration for the old man's skill. With practiced hands, the baker forms the dough into perfect rounds, which he then rolls out one by one, placing them carefully into a clay oven. The air fills with the warm scent of baking bread, mingling with the sweet aroma of pastries being fried in hot oil. At another stall, a potter throws clay on his wheel, shaping it effortlessly with slow, graceful movements. The wheel spins, the clay takes form, and in a few moments a water jug emerges, its surface smooth and flawless. Leaning against a wall nearby, a coppersmith hammers a sheet of metal, the rhythmic clang of his hammer echoing through the alley. Sparks fly as he shapes the copper, his muscles rippling beneath his sweat-stained tunic. Nearby, a jeweler polishes a silver bracelet, his eyes sharp and intense, focused on his work. His hands move with a practiced grace, smoothing and shaping the metal until it gleams like a polished mirror. Above the hum of activity, the haunting melody of a flute drifts through the souk. A group of musicians, their faces partially hidden behind veils, moves from stall to stall, their music weaving a tapestry of sound around the bustling marketplace. You find a moment to sit and watch the world go by, sipping mint tea poured high from a copper pot. The steam curls in the cool morning air, carrying with it the scent of mint and ginger. Around you, the day is unfolding, slowly, steadily. As the sun climbs higher, the colors of the market blaze. Deep blues set against sun-warmed reds, the gleam of polished brass, the flash of emerald and sapphire jewelry, all reflecting the brilliance of the noonday sun. The hum of bargaining rises like a living tide, punctuated by the bray of donkeys laden with almonds and olives. The rhythmic clatter of their hooves on the stone paving mingling with the murmur of voices, the laughter of children playing in the narrow alleys. The market is a sea of humanity, a vibrant tapestry of sights, sounds, and smells, and as you continue to explore its winding paths, you know that you are experiencing more than just a marketplace. You are stepping into a world that has traded for centuries, where the old and the new, the east and the west, come together in a harmonious blend of cultures and commerce. This is a story about winter in the frozen wastes of Siberia. It is a tale of hardship and survival, of icy plains and nights so cold they can freeze a man's soul. But most of all, it is a story about hope. The hope that flickers in the darkness like a candle flame and keeps men alive in the face of despair. It is a world where the sun dips low in the sky and lingers there like a dying ember, where the snow falls in fine, steady flakes and whispers against the hood of your coat. The forest around you is silent except for the faint creak of frozen pines in the wind. Your boots sink into the powder, leaving a trail toward the small cluster of log huts that make up the camp. Smoke rises from a single chimney, curling pale against the steel-gray sky. The year is 1775, and you are a fur trapper, one of many who come to this inhospitable land seeking fortune in the form of sable fur. The men who work these traps are a hardy, weathered lot, their faces like old leather, their hands gnarled and strong. They live for months at a time in the frozen wilderness. Men and boys who have learned the ways of the snow and the secrets of the north. You arrived at the camp 2 weeks ago with the others, part of a group of 8 men who set out from the nearest jail station. Your captain, a grizzled veteran named Volkov, chose this remote spot for its abundance of game. The sables here are said to be the fattest, and whose fur is the thickest and warmest. You and the others nodded silently, shouldering your muskets and trapping supplies, then set off into the white silence. Your first days at the new trap site were filled with the tasks of setting up camp and preparing for the long winter. You helped the others unload the sleds, pitching the canvas tents over the sturdy wooden frames, then set about gathering firewood. Even in this frozen waste, dead branches and logs must be dragged from the forest and piled near each tent. And since no 2 men work in silence, soon the air was filled with shouts and laughter as you competed to see who could bring down the largest tree. When the tents were pitched and the fires laid, you had time to explore the vast, silent woods. Trapping is an art that requires patience, skill, and a deep understanding of the forest. You learned the ways of the woodsman from your father when you were a boy, tracking animals, building shelters, and surviving in the wilderness. So as you moved through the trees, your senses alert, you felt a sense of satisfaction and purpose. Each step brought you closer to nature. Each breath filled your lungs with the crisp, clean air. And for a brief moment, you forgot the biting cold and the long nights and embraced the beauty and serenity of the frozen wilderness. Days turned into weeks and the snow fell steadily, piling high and muffling all sound. You spent your time exploring the forest, setting traps and searching for game. The other men did the same, each one a solitary figure against the vast expanse of white. When the sun dipped low in the sky, you returned to camp, sinking into the warm embrace of your shared tent. The other men were there, their faces flushed from the cold, their eyes bright with the excitement of the hunt. Together, you told stories and drank hot tea, sharing the news of the day and planning for the next. There was little else to do in the long winter nights. You played cards or dominoes by the fire or sat in silence, wrapped in your blankets, listening to the wind howl outside. Sometimes you looked up at the stars, trying to find a familiar constellation, or made up stories about the patterns in the snow. But as the weeks went by, the cold grew more intense. The biting winds seemed to penetrate even your thickest furs, and the nights were long and dark. The men began to talk of spring and the journey back to civilization. Hope was a flickering candle flame against the encroaching darkness. A reminder that even in the coldest, darkest nights, there was always the promise of dawn. This is the end of Part 7, to be continued in Part 8. As the sun rises over the mountains to the east, you awake feeling refreshed after a night spent in a tatami room. Light spills in through the frosted glass screens, dying with it the crisp scent of autumn leaves and the distant sound of temple bells. You rise, shake off the sleep, and pad across the wooden floor to the low table where breakfast awaits. Steamed rice, pickled vegetables, miso soup, and a small cut of grilled fish compose your nourishing meal. With renewed energy, you leave the guest house and stroll through the vibrant streets of ancient Lateo. The morning light is your only guide as you make your way to a quiet neighborhood tucked away from the bustling downtown. Narrow paths wind between houses with tiled roofs and whitewashed walls, each one meticulously raked and swept. The air grows still as you approach your destination, a small pottery workshop nestled amidst the serene gardens. Stepping inside, you are greeted by the sight of a potter at the wheel, his hands moving with practiced grace as he shapes a piece of clay. For the next several hours, you sit at the wheel and let your hands move. The cool clay yields easily to your touch, transforming under your fingertips into a graceful vase. As the sun climbs higher in the sky, its warm glow bathes the workshop in a golden light. The rhythmic whirr of the wheel is your only company, punctuated only by the occasional tap of your tools on the clay. Time seems to stand still as you lose yourself in the ancient practice of pottery making. In the corner, a kettle hisses softly, its gentle steam adding moisture to the still air. The scent of damp clay and wood ash drifts in from the open kiln outside, mingling with the sweet aroma of dried flowers from the vase you are creating. As the sun begins its slow descent, casting long shadows across the workshop, you take a break from the wheel. Your hands, now stained with clay, rest on the edge of a table as you contemplate the pieces that surround you. Each bowl, cup, and vase is a testament to the potter's skill. Yet each one is subtly unique, bearing the mark of the individual craftsman. Some are left plain, allowing the natural beauty of the clay to shine through. Others are adorned with delicate floral patterns or geometric designs. Each stroke is precise and deliberate as the brush strokes of a painter. With renewed vigor, you return to the wheel and pick up a new lump of clay. This time you create a smaller, more delicate piece, a tea bowl perhaps, or a simple cup. The soft earth between your fingers seems to hold the essence of the earth itself, shaped and molded by your touch into something both useful and beautiful. As the last rays of sunlight begin to fade, you step back from the wheel to admire your work. A sense of satisfaction washes over you as you see the transformation from formless lump of clay to a graceful piece of pottery. The rhythmic chugging of the nearby train carries you back to the present moment, reminding you that even in the midst of this ancient practice, life is always moving forward. You gather up your tools and prepare to leave. As you do, you notice the changing leaves outside the window. Their fiery hues a reminder of the beauty that surrounds us even in the mundane aspects of everyday life. With a final glance at the potter's wheel, you step out into the cool evening air, ready to face the day ahead with a renewed sense of purpose and tranquility. The flickering light of a single candle illuminates the desk before you, the glow dancing across the vellum and illuminating the quill in your hand. Outside, the howling winds of an Irish winter threaten to tear at the building's foundations. But within the scriptorium of this secluded monastery, all is calm. Around you, other scribes bend over their tasks, the scratching of their quills a soft counterpoint to the occasional creak of a wooden bench. The pungent aroma of ink and wax mingles with the faint, almost imperceptible temps of stretched parchment. It is a smell that speaks of countless hours spent in the pursuit of knowledge, of words carefully chosen and meticulously arranged. You dip your quill into an ink bottle, drawing slow strokes across the vellum, creating characters that will soon form words that will eventually coalesce into sentences and ultimately form a text of great beauty and importance. This is no ordinary scriptorium. These are no ordinary monks. And this is no ordinary task. For you and your fellow scribes are creating an illuminated manuscript, a gospel, a book that will serve not just as a vessel for the written word, but as a physical manifestation of the divine. In the stillness of this sacred space, you find a strange peace. The world with its clamor and chaos fades away, leaving you in a bubble of timeless tranquility. Time itself seems to slow, its passage marked not just by the shadows lengthening and shortening on the wall, but by the gradual unfolding of letters, words, and sentences. You are not merely writing, you are creating. Each letter is a tiny work of art, each word a stepping stone on a journey of faith. The rhythmic scratch of your quill becomes a kind of prayer, a silent supplication to the divine for guidance and inspiration. As the hours drift by, you pause to grind pigments from precious minerals, their earthy weight grounding you to the present moment. With steady hands, you mix them with egg white, creating vivid blues and fiery reds that will bring the gospel to life. The scent of ink and wax is joined by the subtler fragrance of groundstone and the metallic temps of bronze. Outside, the wind continues its mournful song, but within the scriptorium, there is only the gentle rustle of parchment and the soft murmur of voices as the monks discuss the nuances of the text. Then, as the last tendrils of daylight surrender to the encroaching darkness, the monk at the far end of the room rises, stretching stiff joints and making ready to fetch more ink. In his wake, he leaves the impression of countless stories lived, of adventures both harrowing and inspiring, of battles fought and won, and of countless hours spent in the loving service of God. For these monks are not merely scholars, they are warriors in a different kind of battle, waging a holy war against ignorance and despair. And their weapons are not swords and shields, but books and scrolls, illuminated manuscripts that will preserve the written word, keeping alive the wisdom of ages past. With renewed vigor, you return to your work, the play of light and shadow on the vellum guiding your hand. The hours drift by, each one bringing you closer to the completion of your masterpiece. As the final letter takes shape, you step back to admire your work. The page is a thing of beauty, a testament to your skill and dedication. And you know that when the book is completed, it will be treasured for generations to come. For in this scriptorium, bathed in the soft glow of candlelight and echoing with the whispers of countless stories, the monks have created more than just a book. They have created a legacy. The scriptorium is more than just a room, it's a sanctuary, a place where the noise of the world cannot intrude, where the turning of pages is a prayer, and where the written word is a beacon in the darkness. It is here, in this sacred space, that the monks of this secluded monastery keep the flame of learning and faith burning brightly, ensuring that the wisdom of the past will be passed down to future generations. Ah, good morning. I trust you slept well. Did you dream of faraway lands, of daring adventures? Well, I have something even better. How would you like to spend a day in the life of an 1820s English canal boatman? No dreaming required. Just watch this. First things first, mist drapes itself over the water, softening the line where sky meets canal. Wifey, are you awake? It's time to get up. Come on now, you'll be late. Your shift starts soon. Rock gently at its mooring. It might be nice if we got up earlier. We could catch the sunrise. No time for that now, love. The horse waits on the towpath, munching on some oats. Steam curls from its nostrils in the cool dawn. There we go. Now let's get going. Slowly you start to untie the ropes, the old wood creaking like an old man clearing his throat. Give us a hand there, will you? Time to get the show on the road. You step out onto the towpath, making sure not to put a foot wrong and disturb the precious cargo.
Ow!
You whistle to the horse, giving it a little shove to get it moving. And so, you begin your long day's work. The water's surface mirrors the hedgerows that line the canal, a living, breathing picture frame for the world around you. Ah, there's a cottage up ahead. See that wisp of smoke rising from its chimney? That's where the baker lives. Soon the smell of baking bread will drift across the water, mingling with the scent of freshly cut grass and blooming wildflowers. You can almost taste it, can't you? Just a little further. Here we are. The familiar routine of locks, cranking, the heavy gates rising and falling, the rush of water as the boat rises or sinks in its chamber. Passing through the lock is always a test of skill and patience. If the water isn't balanced just right when the gates open, you could end up with an unwelcome surprise. So you keep a sharp eye out and make any necessary adjustments, ensuring a safe passage for both you and your precious cargo. As you navigate the waterways, you pass under low stone bridges where the darkness is almost tangible, muffling the sounds around you. It's like being inside a giant's hollowed-out ear. Then, as suddenly as it began, the darkness lifts and you're back in the open air, the sky a patchwork quilt of cloud and sunshine. It's been a while since you had tea, but it's time for a spot now, hasn't it? Boil the kettle, add milk and sugar. Tea steeps, filling the small cabin with the rich scent of leaves and wood smoke. Ah, perfect. Just what we needed. You take a sip, savoring the warmth spreading through you. And all too soon, it's time to get back to work. The rhythm of the horse's hooves on the towpath, the lap of water against the boat's hull, the shouts and calls of fellow boaters echoing across the water, all blend together into the soundtrack of your life. You pass other boats, some carrying goods, others, well, just carrying on. Each one a microcosm of life on the canals, each crew a story unto itself. Some are headed to market, their holds brimming with fresh produce ready to be sold. Others are bringing vital supplies to those who need them. Some are just taking a leisurely cruise, enjoying the beauty of the canals and the company of their fellow boaters. As the day wears on, the light begins to fade, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The air cools, carrying the scent of honeysuckle and distant wood smoke. It's almost time to find somewhere to moor for the night. You spot a grassy bank up ahead, perfect for spending the night. The rope ladder, you call out to the horse, slowing it down until it's at a stop. Thank you. Now, while the boat rocks gently, you tie the rope snugly to the post, securing it against any potential bumps or jolts during the night. It's getting dark now, and soon the only light comes from the oil lamp hanging inside the cabin. Its flickering glow dances on the wooden walls, casting long shadows that seem to stretch and twist like the roots of an old tree. The lamplight is your only companion now, and the darkness outside the cabin is a comforting blanket, muffling the sounds of the night. Tired from your long day's work, you settle down to a simple meal of bread and cheese, the flavors plain but satisfying. Outside, the canal is dark and still, the world holding its breath, waiting for the first whispers of dawn. And as you eat, you think about how lucky you are to be alive in this moment, to be a part of this timeless scene. The canal is more than just a waterway. It's a community, a way of life, a home, and you wouldn't trade it for the world. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for joining me on my narrowboat journey. If you enjoyed this experience, why not try another one? Just click on the link below and see where else you can travel through time. Till next time, happy travels. The sky is the color of ripened rice when you wake. It hangs in the valleys, and the mountains are veiled in purple. Dew clings to the tall grasses that border the rice terraces. And dragonflies rest on blades, their wings glistening with diamond dust. You wash your face in the stream, scoop up water in cupped hands and splash it on your head, letting it trickle down your arms and neck. Your reflection smiles back at you, framed by the dark green of the rice plants. It's going to be a good day. The rhythmic slap of bare feet on the stone steps has been the soundtrack of your life. From the top of the terrace, you can see the village, a cluster of red tile roofs set against the mountain. Beyond that, the ocean shimmers like a sapphire, a constant reminder of the life-giving water that nourishes these fields. Today, like every day, you'll walk the familiar path to the river. Dip your cloth in the current and carry water up the mountain to water the rice. The stones are slick with moisture, and you take a deep breath, savoring the smell of wet earth and decaying leaves. A family of ducks paddles past, their yellow beaks bobbing. A boy on a buffalo stops to watch you. He smiles, waves, and you return the gesture, feeling a surge of pure joy. This is home. This is where your people have worked for generations, coaxing life from the hard pan earth, and you are part of that story. As the sun climbs higher, the air grows warmer, and you pause to wipe the sweat from your brow. The wind whispers through the palms, and you close your eyes, leaning against a tree. When you open them again, a young man stands before you, his eyes shining. He offers you a coconut, and you take it, feeling the coolness on your skin. You chat about the weather, the crops, the upcoming harvest festival, and then he's gone, disappearing into the emerald green. You continue your work, the rhythm of it soothing, the beauty of it inspiring. Each step, each plant, each stone monolith is a testament to your ancestors' ingenuity. Their desire to tame nature and make it their own. The water feels cool on your legs, and you move with the grace of someone who has done this work 1,000 times. Your hands, calloused and strong, know exactly what to do. The world is full of such moments, of simple tasks done with precision, of balance, of harmony. It's all around you, if you have eyes to see. And as the day wanes, the colors deepen, the shadows lengthen, and the sky turns the color of a painter's palette, You gather your tools, feeling the satisfying ache in your muscles. You walk back to the village, the setting sun painting the clouds in hues of orange and purple. Laughter spills from open doorways. The scent of wood smoke mingles with the sweet aroma of incense. You greet an old woman you passed on the way, her weathered face crinkled in a smile. She offers you a betel nut to chew, its red stain a war paint on your teeth. You accept, knowing that in its bitter flavor, there is a shared history, a common strength. Together, you and the old woman represent generations of resilience, of connection to the land. Night falls, bringing with it the sound of crickets and the distant roar of the ocean. The stars begin to appear, pinpricks of light in the vast darkness. You eat dinner with your family, the spicy smell of curries filling the air. Conversation is lively, filled with jokes and stories. After dinner, you help your mother clean the house, sweeping the dirt floor, gathering firewood. Then you sit together, sharing tales of the day, the laughter echoing in the small room. As the moon climbs higher, you lie down on your mat, listening to the sounds of the village, the lullaby of roosters, barking dogs, and the distant call of an owl. You look up at the thatched roof, feeling safe and loved.